Welcome on in, guys. So, Season 5 is here today. I'm uploading this video the night before. Hopefully, Season 5 didn't get delayed again. Welcome on in. This is my Musket trap build that I'm going to be playing in Season 5, and I thought I'd share it with you guys, talk a little bit about the season that has finally come, that we've waited, I think, an extra 2 or 3 weeks for. Yeah. Anyway, this patch, Musket, some of the new artifacts are going to be really cool for Musket builds, but Musket traditionally, at least in this game, is a pretty burst-heavy weapon. I've tried it in a variety of different playstyles, more durable setups and very bursty setups, and the playstyle definitely changes as you add more damage to it. It's not like a lower damage Musket isn't viable, but it's definitely a different style, much more reliant on your off weapon than a burst Musket, where you just have crazy amounts of damage with the shot and then the roll dodge reload into your next shot. And yeah, oh my god, the trap on top, that was a powder burn. The trap into powder burn nearly killed that guy from 100 to 0. If that had been a power shot, he would have died. And this next guy here, oh my god, taking every crit from that flesh. And of course, I'm going to roll off the edge. But yeah, Musket, you know, I gotta say, I really enjoy playing it because of the trap on it. Musket's burst is really fun, and I enjoy bursty weapons, but the utility from that trap is something that I've really fallen in love with. And weirdly, on a very squishy Musket build, you can find yourself able to survive a lot of pretty crazy stuff thanks to that trap. And of course, a mobile build like this, you want to be changing directions as often as possible in order to get you know, as much defensive maneuver as you can. There you see, I do a great job just kind of getting behind the enemy group, using my flesh, staying aggressive while I do it, and I managed to pick a kill off of the guy that steps in my trap. I mean, come on, guys. If you're not sold on the Musket build yet, I don't know what can sell you. So anyway, let's get into that gameplay commentary. We'll start off with the first kind of lengthy fight that I have for you guys here, and it is a big scrum on top of the enemy outpost. Tons of enemy players. Our guys are slowly going down, and I'm sure you guys have been in a situation where you're the last guy left and everybody turns and looks at you, and this is where I love trap on the Musket. It's able to give me that speed boost to get away. I get caught in that immobilize, or the bit of a snare there, but the flesh saves me, and then I turn around and I throw the trap on the ground and try to go aggressive right away. These guys go and they start throwing some pressure on me. Again, once I get that riposte, I go for a direction change rolling through these guys, and I can't stress how important, if you're going to play a squishier spec, something like movement is. You want to be changing direction a lot, and consciously think about in a fight, if you're moving around an opponent and you're forcing them to spin their camera around, especially if they're trying to aim a weapon at you, it can be very hard to hit a target that's moving like that. So in this fight here, I do that as best I can. You can see I'm staying very aggressive, but I'm making sure to roll around as often as possible, constantly change directions, and of course use as much cover as possible when I can. And there he gets a great throw on the trap, really well placed. I get caught in it right away. I use the rolls to survive it, then go into the riposte and find myself really low on stam, but I do have the flesh ready, and instead of just fleshing out, I just stay aggressive with it. And I think that was the right call, because in this particular fight, I'm 2-on-1, and taking any pressure off of these guys is going to result in more pressure being thrown on me. Really dangerous spot there. He goes for the flamethrower, and I managed to get a great riposte to keep myself alive. There, I finally land the shot on that player. So much damage off that power shot, and thank God flamethrower guy was just rocking the flamethrower there. I mean, he did himself a disservice not switching to the blunderbuss and hitting me when my stam was down. And yeah, that just gave me a free getaway to heal up, and now I can turn around and jump right back on top of him. Unfortunately, I jump right into that stun, go for the riposte just to absorb that damage, roll out, and then the heal from my shirking heals, and of course the tumbler boots makes a huge difference in these kinds of fights. Now, talking about the new patch, we've got that new Nature's Wrath chest piece. I think this one could be incredibly good for something like a Musket build or just any burst build in general. Musket and Rapier, this particular combo, doesn't have a ton of empower, so you're not going to lose out on a ton of empower damage. I think net you'll be getting a lot of additional base damage from a piece like Nature's Wrath with this weapon combo. But if you're doing something like Fire Staff that has a lot of empower in it, I can see that being a lot less beneficial. But thankfully, Nature's Wrath doesn't reduce the empower duration or effect from permanent empowers like Honing Stones or things like elemental damage gems on your gear and stuff like that. So that kind of works too, but yeah, I gotta say in this fight, you can see the healing that the boots are putting out, and it's so critical to staying alive, especially when you're outnumbered. That's something I do want to talk about in this particular fight here. I'm able to withstand quite a lot of abuse from these guys. Of course, I'm getting lucky, and I have some good positioning to help me out. Eventually, I go down, but if you want to play a musket build and go for a lot more glassy of a spec so you can get better burst on people, I think that definitely works well for musket, but there's kind of like that threshold. If you're going 100 con or any lower than that, if you're playing solo, starts to feel really bad. I like this clip here. There's a lot of nice burst. Oh, beautiful combo. Catching him with the trap, going for that flesh to hit him with the backstabs. But yeah, if you want to rock less con than that, honestly, you could even go for a 5 con musket and Nature's Wrath and just glass cannon, but you don't want to catch or get yourself caught out in the open when you're playing a spec like that. So yeah, I gave it a shot. You know, I played some gemless glass cannon musket and I got a lot of kills, but holy crap. Maybe I should have put some gems on because I was so squishy, and that was just beautiful placement on the trap. That's something too, with musket in general. If you guys haven't played around a lot with the accelerating trap or the trap in general, start playing around and throwing it and just trying to aim it at your targets as you throw it. In PvP, if you hit someone with it, even if they're rolling, if it lands in the spot that they are, you will hit them with that immobilize. And there you see, when I throw the traps around, initially he goes behind the barricade and I throw traps on both sides and he steps in one because he doesn't see where it is in the grass. And that is exactly what I'm talking about with that utility on the trap. It just lets me sit there and seal that kill, which is something you couldn't do on such a squishy build for sure. And then I'm left to fight this guy here, and the Fire Staff player comes out. He goes for the burnout, and I land the luckiest riposte I've ever seen in the middle of his burnout, shoot him with the powder burn, or the power shot right away, sorry. And then I go for pressure with the Rapier here. A friendly player jumps out. He's rocking the flamethrower as well, and the combined pressure between us manages to fry that guy, and I get kind of a weird swap there and just end up shooting at the wall. No big deal. And the friendly player heads to chase this guy as he runs in. Our friendly player, though, taking a lot of damage, so I jump in right away, trying to put my body in between him and the enemies. He just stays on that flamethrower, so I keep the pressure on with my Rapier to keep that guy kind of locked down by the melee snares. And oh my god, 2 shots landed on this guy. That's what I'm talking about, that musket burst. Players in light armor are very susceptible to it, and yeah. In this build here, I would love to be running Crippling Powder Burn as well. Unfortunately, I don't have a piece of gear that has that. I do play an Iron Man, so my gear is pretty limited in that department, and that's just one piece I haven't got my hands on yet. I come back around the corner, though, the friendly player very low on health, and I managed to land a shot on the first player, get in between the friendly and the second player, and I hit him with the riposte to kind of fence off that incoming spear stun. And I think that was enough to save his life. We sealed the kill, and then we continue to put some damage into the door. These guys are getting a lot more hesitant on coming out. They don't have anything to repair the door with, and it's almost going down. I decide to shoot these guys with the musket as the door goes down. Huge damage on that healer. He ends up getting healed up by himself and the friendly right away, but I jump on top of him with the Rapier, keep putting the pressure on, and yeah, this guy, I don't think he was expecting me to hit him so hard. He kind of held still, thinking that his circle could just out-heal it, but it couldn't. Force him to bring out the flail and counter-fight, at least with some stuns to take the pressure off of himself. And I just back off of him. I didn't manage to get the kill on the healer, so we'll come back to it if there's an opportunity, but I switched to a different target, and yeah, find myself just kind of getting chased a lot here. The players at the door are still fighting the friendly player. He's doing a great job just kind of holding that doorway. I'm doing my best to try to put some damage into the spawner now. These guys have respawned a few times, so yeah, definitely not helping. Greatsword player comes in, go for the flesh through him, and then stay on top of the enemy healer, and I get caught with my stam down here. Super dangerous, but I throw the trap down, and the trap is the saving grace. If I hadn't thrown that trap down, that could have been a death. And then this guy, so unfortunate, he had already wound up the heavy as I throw the trap down, so he drags right into it, and I take him down. And the friendly player just finishing off the last couple on the flag. I shoot the bullet into one of them. And there you go, guys. That is all the gameplay of the build. So let's take a look at this setup. Again, I was running 100 con. If you guys want to run less or more constitution, it's up to you. If you're playing a glass cannon setup and you're playing with a group, I would recommend running as little constitution as possible, because the harder you hit, the better you do in a larger group situation. However, if you're playing solo, 100 con is kind of that bare minimum. Taking a look at my rapier tree, I am running that basic bitch rapier tree that I always do. You guys have seen this a million times from me. The combination of flesh, evade, and riposte just gives you great offensive and defensive options with every skill. So yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Very fast, very snappy rapier grace tree. Taking a look at the musket tree, I've got a trap kind of setup. Traps is the bread and butter of musket for me. Immobilize, movement speed bonus for you, and the 100% lifesteal. You can set up huge amounts of burst and damage on anyone that steps in the trap, and you can see we've got that final passive in the trapper tree, so we do crazy damage if anyone steps in that trap. And then power shot and powder burn are musket's two best really quick burst skills, in my opinion. So yeah, great for a burst musket. Utility from the traps, damage from the two shots. The finisher is the rapier of choice. Kind of weird for a grace setup, but it makes sense for our musket. We still have great damage with the rapier, don't worry, but we get crazy burst with the syncretic musket. We got the attunement and traps on top of it. Now, I greatly prefer accelerating traps on the musket, and I do like running crippling powder burn on a build like this as well. Unfortunately, I don't have a piece of gear with it, but I would recommend on your armor you have crippling powder burn. Keep traps on the musket, trust me guys. And then those tumbler boots. It's this or the Nature's Wrath chest piece. I gotta say, I think the tumbler boots all around are better for solo play, but Nature's Wrath, because musket has so little in power, is probably the better option if you're playing in a group. So yeah. And then for the jewelry, I really like using the Endless Thirst, but I know some people are all into the new Phoenix Amulet. You could use it with this build. It's kind of up to you. But personally, I think that the Endless Thirst is better. Anyway, guys, that is the whole build. Thank you so much for watching. All of the stuff flying across your screen. Big thank you to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. Big thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon as well. I'm excited for that new patch. I'm uploading this video, like I said, in the evening before the patch comes out. So hopefully we do get to play that patch today. Hopefully we get to see New World on console. I don't know, maybe I'm still huffing the copium. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Have a good one, guys.